Hello everybody, welcome to episode 105 of the Driftless Knitting Podcast. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter. It is almost 6:30 in the evening on Saturday, March 20th. I'm coming to you from the Driftless area of Wisconsin, just north of Madison, just barely into the Driftless. If you guys are familiar with this area, we are kind of in the south central area of Wisconsin, a little bit north of Madison. So yeah, it is a sunny day here, or at least it was. It is now evening, but because of the time change, the sun is still out. And yeah, getting low, of course. It's getting a little chillier, but it was in the 50s and low 60s here today, which is quite warm for March. So that was really nice. I am talking at full volume here in my living room because I have the apartment to myself, which doesn't happen very often. As many of you guys know, I have a 6-month-old, and he is either very busy and playing and wanting my attention, of course, because he's 6 months old, or he is napping. And I have podcasted when he's been napping and sleeping at night in the past, but today my husband took him to his parents' farm, and I chose to stay home for, well, some much needed alone time here at our home. And also, I was very lucky, very lucky to have gotten my first COVID vaccine yesterday. And I wasn't sure how I was going to react. I've heard different people are reacting different ways, of course, like with anything. And wasn't sure how my immune system would respond in building up that immunity to COVID. And which, just saying that out loud makes me just like, what? So happy. Yeah, so I haven't had too many symptoms. I have a sore arm, but even that isn't that bad quite yet. I don't know if it's going to get worse or if I've gotten through the worst part of it. Yesterday evening, I had it at about 3:30 yesterday. So yesterday evening, I had a little bit of fogginess. I actually was telling my husband, I actually felt almost like I was a little tipsy. You kind of get that like right at the edge, like just over the edge of tipsy, where I was still completely functioning normal. I cooked dinner, I took care of the baby, everything, but my head was a little, I think they call it like brain fog. So I kind of felt like I was a little floaty, little foggy. It's also very similar to how I felt when I was really low on sleep those first few months of having a baby. So I had that symptom and then had the sore arm, and I got very tired last night. So those were my symptoms. Today I've been really good. I was able to clean. I got a shower in. Like, I can shower when Hudson is napping, but it's always very rushed, and I need to get in and out, and I have other things I need to do, and I don't know when he's gonna wake up. So the fact that I could have like a very relaxing shower and clean, do dishes, pick up around the house, and then I did a lot of crafting. I sat down and did some knitting, as I'll show you, and I actually got a chance to do a little bit of cross stitch, which was very exciting. I haven't really cross stitched since before Hudson was born, and I got really into it right before he was born, like the last, I don't know, month or so. I picked my cross stitch back up, and I used to do it, I think for a little while. I did it every single night, just a little bit. I'm still slow because I'm very out of practice. And I would do it every night as kind of my wind down. It's very methodical, relaxing to me, whereas sometimes when I'm knitting, I feel like I have to get some, like, produce, make as much progress as possible. So I'm a little more, sometimes I can be a little more uptight with my needles. That was me clenching my needles, in case you didn't know what I was doing there. So the cross stitching kind of let me relax and be slow, and yeah, it was a really nice nightly like routine that I got in. And then when the baby was born, that went out the window because A, I didn't have time, and then B, cross stitch is a lot more, you just have a lot more pieces that you have to work with. So I'd have all my floss, and then you got to change floss, and you've got to cut it, and it was just, and then the piece I'm working on, there's a lot of like different colors in one area. Yeah, so it just isn't, you can't just like pick it up and go and set it down, which you kind of need projects like that when you have a little one. So yeah, so I had a chance today to pick that up. That was awesome. So much fun. And I can't wait to show you what I have. I think I don't have any other, I don't think I have any other like housekeeping to talk to you guys about. Nothing is really going on in our Ravelry group or anything like that. Kind of moved away from that, though it's still there. If you want to comment, there's like a thread where you can post a comment, or feel free to comment here on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who watched my last episode. It was a long time coming, I know, and I really appreciate everybody who came and watched it. If you're a new viewer, I always forget to say this. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I hope you enjoy it. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. You guys know how much I love you. So yeah, it was fun. I got a couple comments on the last episode, and yeah, a lot of people saying that time is flying by. They can't believe Hudson is 6 months old. And I know, me too. It's crazy. So the first thing I will talk about is what I'm wearing. Like I said, it was warmer here today. I had a thinner sweatshirt on, but I decided to throw on this sweater. This is a store-bought sweater. I did not make it, but it is a very oversized, cozy sweater. I think I got at Target. Oh, and my husband is calling, so hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. It was actually my mother-in-law. She was just calling something, nothing serious or major or anything, but had a question about the baby. So, but yes, so I think I was talking about my sweater, store-bought, big comfy sweater, and I just put this Curia Cove shawl on. This one is one of my favorites. I've probably worn it on here a few times. It is a pattern by Tammy Gore, and you can see it's a 2-color shawl. It's got some sections of, it's all garter stitch, and then sections of like color blocks. So we've got, yeah, various widths of the colors, and then a striping section, and then a bigger green section at the end. I can't remember if this one has short rows. I don't think so. I think it's just a straight knit, but it's very enjoyable. I love doing this one. I think I knit this back in 2018. It was the year Seaver and I got married, so I think that's why I can remember. It was like that spring while we were still planning the wedding, and at that time all I wanted to do was knit on this and not think about wedding plans, because I was, you know, easily stressed out. And yeah, it seemed like we planned our wedding in like 9 months, which is a decent enough time, but there was a lot to figure out and do. And sometimes with big projects, I get stressed out and I want to procrastinate. And yeah, so all I wanted to do was knit this when I should have been planning the wedding and nailing down things, but it all turned out wonderful and we had an amazing wedding. So yeah, 2018, about 3 years ago now, and I love it. It's knit out of Woolberry Fiber Company. This is the merino nylon sock weight or fingering weight in Graham's Garden. and that's the speckly one. It's got some beautiful like floral tones with green speckles, and then the green, oh, I guess it does have some short rows. I think you can see, yeah, see how that stripe gets thinner. And then okay, so I was remembering that. I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, I thought this had short rows, but it wasn't obvious right away. The green is Woodland in their BFL sock base. And I can't remember, they have like different names for the bases, but I can't remember what they are. So anyway, loved the yarn, loved the pattern, so enjoyable to knit. I'm craving like stockinette or garter stitch right now because I showed you last time, I finished my Advent knit, which was all garter with just like a spine of eyelets. And then, so I finished that. That was like my go-to mindless project. And I'm working on a really big project, which you may remember me showing, that is like moss stitch. So it's a lot of knit and purling going back and forth, and I'm just sort of, that's also mindless, but at the same time I'm craving just being able to like knit across an entire row. So I might have to cast on something. I don't know, I shouldn't be, I need to finish some things. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm wearing, and it's nice and cozy. It's getting a little chillier right now as the sun's going down, so I'm glad to have something nice and warm around my neck, since we've turned the heat down now that it's spring. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some finished objects. One of my finished objects I don't have anymore. It's a sample for Knit Circus, and it was the World's Simplest Mittens that I believe I was working on the last time I podcasted. Yeah, I must have been, because I started those for a knit along that Knit Circus did for their Ringmaster, for our Ringmaster base, which is our worsted weight 100% superwash merino. So I gave that pair to Liz so that we could get, she's my coworker, so that we could get pictures and get that up on the website. But I did knit another little mitten out of the same yarn. Look at that cutie. This is a mitten in their toddler size. What's great about the World's Simplest Mittens, it's a Tin Can Knits pattern, and they do sizes from like baby all the way up to like XXXL or something for adults. So with this pattern especially, they not only do toddler and then child and 3 adult sizes, small, medium, and large. They also include directions for fingering weight in all of those sizes, DK weight, again, all of the sizes, worsted and chunky. So you can really make that, like curate your own mittens depending on what weight and what size you want. So I knit the adult medium for our sample out of Frozen in Time Speckle, which is this yarn here. And then I had some left over, so I thought I would do a little sample of one of the smaller sizes. This is the toddler size. You can see my hand is pretty small for an adult, and that's how I guess maybe I should show it like that so you can see. So that's where it would, yeah. So it's pretty small. It would be big on my little guy, my 6-month-old, even though he's a good size himself. But yeah, it would be big on him, and probably fit up to, depending on the thumb size, that might be tricky. It's a little shallow, but that might fit up to like a 2-year-old. Maybe not. Anyway, I realized when I was finishing this, I didn't think I had enough to do the second one. So it'll have to just be a cute little sample of, you know, a different size that you can do with the yarn. So I'll bring that to work if they want to use it, or we'll just maybe save it to put out in the shop when we finally open again. My other, it's kind of a finished object and kind of not. I was not working on these the last time I podcasted. So this will transition us from finished objects to works in progress because it's kind of both. I also knit a little hat for Hudson, excuse me, out of Knit Circus, Ringmaster, and the Renegade, the Renegade Unicorn colorway. It's a very bright, colorful, like rainbow speckly yarn. And you can see that on my Ravelry account. I do not have it because he has it at the farm. They were gonna maybe go for a walk today, so I packed it in the diaper bag for him. And that was the Bankhead hat. I don't know who it was by. It's a free pattern. I loved making it. It's been kind of one that I see on Ravelry when I do a search for, when I'm looking up patterns to go with our worsted weight, because in our newsletter every week we send out pattern ideas for the different weights of yarn for new colorways that we do. So that one always comes up because it has a variety of sizes, and it just is a nice, like, basic beanie, like slouchy beanie. It's not super slouchy, but it's a little bit slouchy, and you can make it more slouchy if you want it to be. And it's basic, but it's not super basic. So it has like a twisted rib brim and a broken rib in it, but it still kind of has like enough stockinette to make it really mindless. I really enjoyed knitting that hat, and I want to make maybe a few more actually, because yeah, it was just really fun. And it's great to just use up a skein of worsted if you have one. So yeah, we can never have too many hats, right? So that's what I did with that. It was leftover yarn from a project from several years ago, and I wanted to continue knitting in the knit along. I also knew Hudson was outgrowing his hat, so it was a win-win. Okay, so back to this other project that I was talking about. These are, I was thinking about what to give Hudson for Easter in his Easter basket. I'm really excited for his first Easter. Easter was always a really fun holiday in my house. Growing up, we went to church in the morning. We usually went to a family member's, my grandparents, one of my grandparents. We would do Easter egg hunts, or when I was a little older, my mom used to host all of her family. My cousins and aunts and uncles would come out. We would do this big Easter egg hunt they live on like 2.5 acres. So they would hide eggs all over the place, and you know, all the kids would go out and do Easter egg hunt. We do Easter baskets, and it was just always really, really fun. So, and my mom did this awesome, so creative, this like hunt, what would you call it? Like a scavenger hunt and this was just for my sister and I, for our baskets, and she would write like riddles, and they were so clever. They would rhyme, and still, like, I don't know how she came up with some of these things. So it would lead us from one place to the next. There would be another note with the next clue, and then we'd go to that, and then eventually it would lead us to our Easter baskets. So that was always so much fun. And she did that up until like, I think we were in college, which was super cute. But yeah, so I'm excited to have Hudson's first Easter. I got him a little cute onesie to put him in, and yeah, I love a theme. I love a holiday. So anyway, I was thinking that it would be really fun to put something handmade in his Easter basket. Nothing too crazy. I didn't have time to knit him like a sweater or something like that, but I did have time to knit him a cute little Easter friend. So this is Beau the Bunny, and this is a pattern by Ashley Yowsling. I hope I'm saying her name right. She is the designer, knitter, maker behind the Wool Folk not Woolfolk, Woolfolk is a yarn brand. Woolful podcast, which is now the Making podcast, because she joined the team of the Making magazine. And I don't think they do a podcast anymore. I think she has like 3 boys now, 3 kids, and they live as far, like, again, I kind of, when that podcast ended, I lost touch with like what she's up to a little bit. I still follow her on Instagram, but I'm not exactly sure what she's up to these days, besides still being part of the Making magazine. But anyway, this was not a free pattern. I don't think it's a free pattern. I think it's a few dollars. But I got it a while ago because I thought it was super cute. I'd always wanted to make one for my nephew. And yeah, I finally got around to it. It starts at the bottom. So I did the Judy's Magic cast on because I can do that in my sleep from knitting toe-up socks. And they call for, which one do they call for? Ooh, which one is that? It's the one where you like have the 2 needles and you wrap the yarn around it, and then you take one of the needles out, just like you would for Magic Loop, and you're knitting into just those like wrapped, you're kind of creating stitches out of the wrapped yarn, but you're not going like back and forth like you do for Judy's Magic. I love how I'm doing like these, I talk with my hands a lot. I'm doing the motion and thinking you can like see that. Hopefully that makes sense. But watching like the video of how to do the other cast on, again, totally blanking on what it is, I realized it's pretty much the same thing as Judy's Magic cast on, so I just did that one. And it's completely seamless. And then you knit up and you're knitting in the round. I did Magic Loop. She says that she prefers doing it on 2 DPNs using a 3rd one. So it's basically the same thing as Magic Loop. You just don't have the cord and you're not having to switch out. Well, you are having to switch out your needles, I guess, but just not the same way as Magic Loop. Yeah, so he's just plain. He's stuffed with wool roving that I had in my spinning stash. It was just kind of probably a merino, but it's not like a really super like soft merino. Yeah, I will be putting a face on him. I just haven't had the chance yet. And the pattern calls for this little bent ear, which is, I didn't do that on my own. And it's not a mistake. That's how he's made. So yeah, that's super cute. It's done in Cascade 220 Superwash. Yes, in like a gray heather. I don't know what the name of it is. This was a scrap, like a 1/3 of a skein, 1/3 of a cake from them. I had used this for something else, not sure what, but that doesn't really matter. And yeah, so this was fun and easy, and it was so fun and easy that I decided to knit a second one. So this one has a little patch on his ear. I just switched yarn when I got to the tip of the ear. And this is also out of Cascade 220 Superwash, out of their like, it's a chocolate brown, isn't heathered at all, it's just a solid. And this one is going to be for my nephew. So he has, ooh, there's some wool poking out. He's also stuffed with wool. I did it the same way with the Judy's Magic cast on at the bottom. The only thing I did differently was the little yarn at the top. And I might do a duplicate stitch opposite to the ear of that like lighter yarn over his eye. So like he'll have like maybe a patch with where the eye is, if that makes sense. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so my nephew has a little bunny that I knit him when he was born from it's a Susan B. Anderson pattern. I think it's the Opal Sock Bunny. and I knit that for him. And for a couple of years, it was just in his toy box with his other stuffed animals. I've knit him a couple little stuffies. And then recently, a few months ago, he pulled it out randomly and got super attached to it and started sleeping with it every night, takes it with him, like kind of out of the blue, which was really sweet. And yeah, he calls him Jumpy Bunny, which is just like adorable. And my nephew is 4.5. He'll be 5 in July. So yeah, super, super cute. So I thought I would make a friend for Jumpy Bunny. So the brown one will go to him and the gray one will stay with Hudson. And yeah, I'm really excited to have those made and ready for their Easter baskets. Yay. Okay, and that is in, I should say, I guess if you want to know what I used for the tip of the ear, this is a scrap of Kenzie yarn. It's like a DK light worsted. I think it's technically considered a worsted, but it could pass for a heavy DK, I think. Yeah, Kenzie is like a mix of, gosh, alpaca, and it's like 4 different fibers in it. Wool, alpaca, maybe some Angora. I don't even know. It's got a few fibers in there. And I have them in my Resilient Knitter bag. This one always reminds me of spring, flowers, and I love it. These are recycled. Elizabeth does recycled project bags. She's been kind of on a hiatus for a while. I'm not sure if she'll be making project bags anymore, but I have a couple of these. We used to sell them there actually might be a couple still in the Knit Circus online shop. We had like a handful, like maybe 3 when we had to close back in a year ago, last March. We may have sold a couple of them online since then, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I love these. I love these. I'm lucky to have a couple of them. Okay, oh, and I forgot to say, I held the yarn double. So the pattern itself calls for an Aran weight, and I just have worsted in my stash. So I didn't like how small it was looking when it was held single. So I held the worsted weight double, and I moved up to a size 6 instead of the size 5, which is called for in the pattern. So there we go. I still have to make a project page for them on Ravelry. But if you don't go on Ravelry anymore, you never went on Ravelry, or yeah, you just want to know now, there you go. That's the info on those. So I just finished the ears on the brown one today. That was one of my goals while I had the house to myself. So the next thing I have to show, oh, this is in my Indie Untangled Everywhere bag. I love this bag. The illustration is just so freaking adorable. And it's the perfect 2020 commemorative bag. I participated in October with Indie Untangled Everywhere, just as a I was gonna say patron. I guess I patronize it, sort of. A participant, I think, is the word I was trying to reach for in my brain. Maybe I still have some brain fog. Who knows? Or it's just mom brain. But yeah, so I participated back in October for their virtual festival, virtual yarn show. It was a lot of fun. You can hear more about it in previous episodes. I talked about it a lot. And yeah, I am looking forward to this year. I hope that they keep doing virtual ones, because that means even when the pandemic is over, I don't know, will it ever be over? When it's controlled and we can go back to doing things. I can't get to New York every year, or maybe ever. Hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. And I would still love to participate. So I know this year they are doing the virtual ones because just so much is unknown for the fall time. And actually this weekend is Indie Across the Pond, which is one of their smaller festivals that they're doing for makers and yarn shop owners and indie dyers in other countries besides the US, which is where they're based. So I actually did buy a ticket for that, and I did a few of the Zoom get-togethers today while I was here alone home. But yeah, I also really wanted to catch up on some podcasts too, so I did that as well. Yeah. Okay, next. My next work in progress is this beast, which I showed last time. I think I had just split for sleeves maybe. But this is the sweater that I'm knitting for my husband. This is out of Cascade 220. It's a non-superwash, the non-superwash version. And this was old deep stash yarn. I had started knitting it into a big blanket, and then when it was inevitable to me that it was just never gonna get done, I ripped it all out and rewound them into cakes of yarn. So this is a kind of forest green heather color. I have no idea what color it is because I bought this almost 10 years ago for that blanket, for said blanket, and I just ripped it all out last summer. So it was just like in a bag. I was trying to forget about it for a long time. But I'm glad I ripped it out because now that weight is off my shoulders and I can actually use it for something that's gonna be like worn and used and loved. So Seaver has been on me about making him a sweater for a long time, and finally when was that? I guess in January, maybe February, he asked me again, and he wanted to see the yarn that I was planning to use for it, so I showed him, and then he wanted to see the pattern that I was gonna use, so I showed him, and then he was like, can you just cast it on? I was like, oh, I see what you did there. I see how you tricked me into casting this on. But honestly though, I really did want to make it for him. So I'm not going to show you the instructions on the other page, but this is the Boatyard Pullover. Let me just make sure. Yes, the Boatyard Pullover by Hannah Fettig. It is in the texture book. And so far, I am loving it. I had some gauge issues. I talked about that last time. I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be a little bit big on him, but I don't know. I mean, he wants to wear this over, at least over one layer, if not over 2 thin layers as like an outer shell when he's outside. So I think it's good that it's gonna be a little bit maybe bigger than he would wear like as a close fitting sweater. Yeah. What else to say about this? Cascade 220, I said that. I'm using, I think size 8. I have it on a 40-inch right now. Size 8 Addy Rockets. This is my interchangeable set. I love them. They're my favorite needles. And it's done in a moss stitch. I think I said that too. And I have some cute little progress keepers on there. So this one is like a wood burned or a laser cut progress keeper. I can't remember who this is from. It was free, like a freebie sample that was sent when we ordered like extras to put into one of the Knit Circus clubs from her. She sent that, and I was like, I need that cow, so she is now mine. This one, it's maybe gonna be hard to show off a little bit, but this one right here is one of my newest acquisitions, and this is an adorable cow from Katie of Lock and Lou. Katie is local to us here in the Madison area. She actually lives about 15 minutes away from me. We work with her a lot with Knit Circus, and sometimes I get to go swing by and pick up the progress keepers that we order from her house, because it's a little out of the way from when I go to work, but it's like kind of on the way. It's not like in the complete opposite direction. So that's pretty cool. I just got to go visit her at the beginning of March and pick up our St. Patrick's Day progress keepers. So yeah, so I had to buy one of her cows when I saw them go up on her online shop. She just has some amazing progress keepers. The talent, holy buckets. And I love that most of them are like botanical or birds, or she has some like insect, like butterflies and things like that, or they're like animals. I guess birds are animals, but you know what I mean. Mammals, I guess. And yeah, I have quite the collection going. She also does, I shouldn't say it's just animals and flowers and things. She also does like paintings, little like round paintings. I think I've showed a few of those on here before. And she's done, what else has she done for us? She's done gumdrops for us, candy canes for our Christmas clubs. She just did 3-leaf shamrock for us, and yeah, all sorts of things. So it's, I love her stuff. I'm getting quite the collection. I have so many of them now, but I can't resist. I think she just did an update on, was that today? Maybe? She had a couple new birds that she put out, which are super fun. Okay, last thing before I go into acquisitions is my cross stitch. So this is in my awesome cross stitch bag. Not exactly sure who, I looked it up at one point and now I can't remember again where I got this. It's an awesome shop on Etsy. I think she's in the UK. It's so well made. Oh my gosh, the inside is even like quilted. Oh, I love this bag. Okay, so I haven't showed this in such a long time. I am very, very excited to do so. And I want to make sure that let's see, is the photo on this side? Yes, okay. So I'm going to take it off my little magnet board so I can actually show you the photo of it. So this is the project I'm working on. It's called Harvest Girl, and it is by, who's it by? I can't tell. I'm just looking at the picture because I haven't really looked at it in a while. And yeah, okay. It looks familiar. Just making sure I'm doing it right. My, the linen that I'm using is a little bit darker. This one looks like it's kind of on, oh, it's by Leslie Tier. Leslie Tier? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they show it on like just a very white, probably an Aida cloth. And I am doing it on a darker-ish linen. Let me get that back on here. La 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 la. Okay. There we go. So I have it in a hoop right now. The linen that I'm doing it, I can't remember what brand this is. I think it's like a DMC brand. I got it at Joann's. it's a 28 count, which is the small. I've only ever done like Ada, like 14 count. So this is the first linen I've ever used. I used to cross stitch as a kid, and it was the first like craft that I learned when I was little. I think I learned how to cross stitch when I was like 6 or 7. And at my Oma is the one who taught me how to knit. She taught me how to cross stitch. She's a quilter. She does embroidery. She crochets. What else does she do? Everything. She does everything. But she would have us, after we were done with our homework, they lived right next door to us, so we'd go there after school before my mom came home from work. And once we did our homework, we would sit down most days and we'd have to do like a line on our cross stitch projects. And a line being, my sister and I did these projects where it had like big borders and like a figure in the middle. So most of the time I remember having to do the border. That took forever. So it'd be like, we'd have to go, oh, my light just turned off. I'm talking too long. So we'd have to go like across and then come back. And that would be like our line. We would, then we could go watch PBS or something. So it looks like my light is going to be off for the remainder of this. And hopefully that's okay. It is getting kind of dark outside. So actually, let me go turn on the light in the corner. I'll be right back. Okay, so I think that brightened me up a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so I cross-stitched when I was a kid a lot, and then totally dropped it for a very long time. Always was interested. I loved seeing the projects my Oma was working on. I always really appreciated the cross-stitch and kind of felt like I wanted to get back to it at some point. I didn't know when, didn't know how, didn't know if I would ever have the discipline to do big projects like she did, but I thought it would be really, really cool if someday I could get back to it. So I did a little small project that took me a while to finish. Not when I picked it back up. I started it, lost my mojo again. It sat for like 2 years, and then I picked it back up and I finished it within like a couple of weeks. And that was right before Hudson was born. So I finished that one. I started this one because I was just like on fire to do this craft and I wanted to do all of it. I went on 1, 2, 3 Stitch. I put a million things in my wish list. I started watching floss tubes. I like wanted to go in like head first. And then Hudson was born. And I, again, got distracted, but this time I'm not letting 2 years go before I pick this up again. So this is my progress on the Harvest Girl. This is a needle minder by Simply Serving. It's a little like Hogwarts letter. And the magnet isn't strong enough for me to put my needle on it in the bag, because I think it would just, if it got bumped, it would fall off. So I do keep it on the outside of the project, while it's in the bag. But while I'm switching threads or doing something like that, I do put it on there when I'm working on it. So I've got the top of the trellis, and then I came down. So I wanted to start in the middle. I came down the side. I did the squirrel. All of this has to be backstitched. I did most of the deer, sunflower, and then I'm stitching the fox now. So today I did all of this part of the fox. He had like one ear before, and I did the rest of him. So I'm a slow stitcher. That probably took me about an hour. But I really enjoyed it. I did mess up a lot in this area. There's a lot of like half stitches and different things like that, and I messed a lot of that up. I didn't do that today. I did that back. I think I did pull this out once. Since Hudson was born, it was right after he started sleeping in his own room, and he goes down pretty easily, so I have a little bit more time at night. And he was asleep, and I thought I could pull this out, get a little cross stitch done. I was just like so tired, and I didn't have a good light. I'm realizing how important lighting is for cross stitch. I really would like an OT light or an equivalent light sometime. That's on my wish list for like upcoming birthday or this Christmas, I guess. I would love one of those. And I totally screwed up. I was not in the right mind frame, not in the right situation to work on cross stitch, and I totally messed up the sunflower. So I had to really like fudge it completely. So like fill in spaces, like I shifted stitches over, and it was just bad. So I had to fill in some, and it looks fine now. From a distance, you can't even tell. If I look close enough, I can see where things just aren't very good at all. But that's okay. It's my first real big, it's not that big, but more complicated project. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I can't wait to I like kind of what I'm doing, where I'm going down around, and then maybe I'll come back up, and then I'll fill in the girl in the center. That seems to be a really good rhythm for me. So yeah, cross stitch, woohoo! So excited, so excited. And I already know which project I'm gonna do after this. That might change, so I'm not gonna say what it is, but I'm itching. This is gonna take me probably another year if I only get to work on it like once every month or something. But maybe, yeah, as Hudson gets older, if I get better lighting and I'm not so sleep deprived, it might happen more often. You never know. Okay, so that's all the projects I've been working on. I have a little bit of yarn to show. So last time I podcasted, I talked about this, that I had ordered another colorway from Bumblebee Acres, and it was on its way, and it arrived about maybe a week after I podcasted. So this is part of their Pride and Prejudice line that they did. It is no longer available right now. I think they might bring it back maybe for shows, like they usually do yarn shows. So if we are able to do yarn shows again, fiber festivals, maybe they'll bring some back for that. But here's their card. And this is the Miss Bennett's on their Coquette sock base, which is it 75? Yep, 75 Corradale and 25% nylon. And it's a fingering weight. So I chose this blend because I love the way that the colors dye up on it. I love their squishy sock base too, which is a 75-25 merino nylon. It's kind of your basic sock yarn. But the Corradale is really nice. It makes kind of little bit heavier socks. It's a much like poofier yarn. So they're warmer, little heavier, and just sturdy. You know, that Corradale wool in there just makes it so sturdy. But they're not scratchy either. Like this is a very, I don't know, fluffy, squishy yarn. I don't know how to describe it better than that. I'm gonna just turn my light on for a second so you can at least see this close up for a minute. I love this color here, and it's got some other, that peachy color is just wonderful. And because they're sneaky and awesome, Sam B threw in, she's one of the daughters, she threw in this little mini skein. This is also Coquette sock, and this is their Heathered Sweetgrass colorway, and it matches really, really well. Look at that. See that like green right there? It matches really well. yeah, so this turned up in my package and that was really sweet. Thank you for my little extra. I love this colorway, actually. I would love a garment in this colorway. That is on my radar. But for now, and I was saying that this makes really good socks, and it does, but now that I have this, like I could do heels, toes, and cuffs with this, I kind of want to do something else. I don't know. I have something in my brain. I'll have to see if this would be enough. This is 86 yards. It's 22 grams. So yeah, we'll see. This would be a cute accent on like a accessory because this is just so dang pretty. Right now, their Sense and Sensibility yarns are up on their website. They just came out yesterday, I think, and holy buckets, are they beautiful. I have not decided what I'm going to buy yet. I believe I am going to order something. Again, I'll probably be panic buying because I'll tell myself I don't need anything, and then they'll post the reminder that I think pre-orders, it's all dyed to order, and pre-orders end April 2nd, I think. And I'm gonna panic shop because that's kind of my MO now. It's like, okay, this is leaving the shop, and I freak out and order them all. Not really. Order some. All right, so the next thing that I brought home is this super fun skein of Knit Circus Greatest of Ease, which is our 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. It's a fingering weight as well. And this is the orange and the green speckle. This was this was one of the Irish American Heritage Club, month club. There's a lot of words in there, that we had, we sent out this month at the beginning of the month. We have since released this on the website, so if you would like a skein, it's available in a variety of bases and also as dye to order. But this is just a really fun green, orange, and white speckle. It's the colors of the Irish flag. There goes my light, but at least you got a good look at this. And I'm going to knit a pair of socks for my sister in this because she is obsessed with Ireland. She's been there 3 times. My nephew has already been there once. They went a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. He was 3, I think, when they went. And loved it. They have plans to go again. They were supposed to go this spring, I think, 2021, and they had to postpone, but I think they're gonna try and go again. I think they were gonna go in May of this year, but they're gonna try and go again in May of next year. So they were able to, I don't know if they bought their tickets and they were able to defer them. But anyway, she did a lot of like Irish studies. She was a history major and she did like Irish studies as her emphasis and knows a lot about the history and culture, as much as you can know from studying it in books. And then, yeah, they've been over there a few times. So she just loves that culture a lot. We're not Irish, which is really funny. We have like 0 Irish blood in our veins. But that doesn't matter if you are drawn and if you connect to a culture, and, you know, at least being respectful of that culture, if it's not yours, not appropriating anything, and just celebrating the uniqueness and the magic of it. Anyway, so those are going to be socks for my sister, and I'm excited to get going on that. Oh man, I've been talking for a long time, which is why I'm starting to babble a little bit, and I apologize for that. But the last thing I want to show you is something really cool that I got from Tristan of Dragon Hoard Yarn. This is one of her design notebooks that she has in her shop. I'm not sure where it is, where she sources these, but on the back it says fireweed, which is a division of papaya, P-A-P-A-Y-A, lots of A's in there, Inc. Incorporated. And it is 100% recycled paper, and it's just a beautiful notebook. I love the floral designs on there, and the cover says surrounded by love in embossed. You can kind of see it there. It's embossed in there. And I was wanting a notebook kind of dedicated to some design ideas. I don't get a whole lot of time to design, and right now I'm trying to finish projects, so I don't want to cast anything new on, including designs, but I have some ideas that are just like stuck in my brain, and I wanted to jot them down, make sure I remembered what they are for later, maybe do a little sketch of them. Yeah, and I don't know, I didn't want to just get a notebook from, I don't know, Target or something, a lined notebook. It's fine, but I kind of wanted something special. I was gonna go on Etsy and kind of look around for something, and then I remembered Tristan had posted these in her Instagram, and I went online to see if she had any left, and she did. So not sure about now. This was a few weeks ago. I just got it last week, I think. So yeah, I'm really excited to start. I haven't put anything in it yet. I've been really, really wanting to. I maybe should have done that today when I had time, but that's okay. But yeah, it's got, I forgot to say, it's got lined paper. So it's got your regular lines, and then it's got blank paper in the middle, and then at the end, the third section is like graph paper. So loving this. I can't wait to use it. And yeah, go check out Tristan's online shop. She's got some really fun things in there. And she's got some clubs out right now that are really tempting me. I think there's, she's opening up a few more spots for like a Disney inspired, but she does such unique takes on different things that I think this is going to be a very like sophisticated version of these Disney characters. Like I know she has Merida, is it Belle, Ariel, and one other one. There's 4 of them. But yeah, I'm really, really tempted. Especially by the Merida one, because those are my colors, like the earthy blues and greens and teal with that like pop of orange for her red hair. I think Tristan is going to come up with something amazing for that, and I'm like, I want it so bad, but I don't know. We'll see. Trying not to spend too much, trying not to go crazy on yarn, trying to use things up because it feels so good when you use things up. And yeah, I love using stash almost as much as I love adding to my stash. Not quite. I enjoy collecting yarn quite a bit, so we'll see. But anyway, I think I am just about done. It's probably a good thing because my boys are going to be coming home soon. I wanted to thank you all for stopping by, visiting with me, for watching. If you could give the video a thumbs up, and if you aren't subscribed already, you could hit that subscribe button too. I would much appreciate that. Thanks for being patient. I'm really happy I had a chance to podcast again so quickly, and I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are healthy. Hang in there. There's a light at the end of this tunnel, and we'll be able to hopefully see each other again soon. I love you all so much. Do things that make your heart happy. I will be doing the same. Be kind to one another.